Servus und hallo, welcome to this new video. Yesterday I browsed Reddit while I was at work, went through the usual threads like 3D printing, the Ergo Mars, Sovol and printed minis. On printed minis I found this post that was from a DM that finally wanted to get into 3D printing and the crafting aspect that comes with it when you are a 3D printing DM. So I asked him, hey, can I do a video on this exact topic? I had been waiting for this. I had actually been waiting for this for so long and couldn't get the right things in order to get like a good concept. First of all, respect on building miniatures out of PVC, I think it was glue, and printed paper. Respect. I couldn't do it. In his post he has given us or me a list on what he wants. That includes 3D printing and also some post-processing and probably some sculpting and modeling. I can give great advice on 3D printing and where you can get models, especially custom ones, but I cannot teach anybody how to sculpt or model because I can't do that. It's just a basic guideline filled with information. I say what I use and how that's going, and also give some other alternatives, because just sticking to one brand might not be the best. So first on the list is create, and I think with creating means like either create or take a file and 3D print it, all miniatures. That is a huge task. I am myself going on that journey on printing the monster manual alone, which is 450 creatures. So a great search engine is Yegi. That is a search engine which browses all sites for 3D printable files. Yegi can be a bit hit or miss though. And that's why I usually advise someone like him to go on Patreon, and especially MZ4250's Patreon, because he has modeled every creature in D&D and is updating the old ones every week. Or every day he is sculpting and updating his old works, making new ones. And as you can probably hear from it, I am a fan. But I'm not a fanboy. He's doing very great things. He has everything, and he usually has Blender files where you can edit. Like, he has put his sculpt, and you could, in theory, add detail or give a dragon cat ears. I don't know. You could. And he's also endorsed by Wizards of the Coast. And if you pay €5, it's for me, every month you get access to his Google Drive. He's actually working on another solution because Google Drive is shitty, but you can get all the files there. I have not found a miniature that he has not sculpted. This person wants to have a different scale, like I do. I have 40mm squares that resemble 5 feet. And I can scale that up accordingly in either 3D Builder, which you can see right here. It is an easy process of importing your miniature. The software is in German, I'm sorry, but the buttons look the same. It's import, maybe repair, and then scale up. You can see the dimensions in millimeters, which I highly advise you use that scale. And when you import the miniature, you can select the units, which most people use millimeters, not imperial. Then you can scale accordingly. Or you can scale in your slicer, which I use Cheetobox for, or Cheetobox. I say Cheetobox. It's a free software where you prepare your files that you have either bought or got somehow. You throw them in there, you support them, you can export it for your 3D printer. The newest version of Cheetobox, I think also in the older versions, you can see millimeter scale besides the percentage. I just want to add that MZ's Patreon is not the only one that creates miniatures for 5e. There are many more, but he has everything. I'll quickly go over what a slicer is. Slicer is a program that essentially translates what you want for your printer so that he can print it. I will not get too technical here, but I have a video on how to go from a file to a finished print in under 12 minutes. And I think I got everything in that video. Please watch that. Also for post-processing, most people either use a Dremel or any other rotary tool that rotates and can get rid of stuff. Resin is fairly hard when it's printed, and it's easy to work with. So using a finer grid can slow things down in order to get the detail you want. There are some programs where you can sculpt and model what you want. One program that is also free is Blender, that MZ uses that, so it would be easy to, if you would learn Blender, to then edit the files you get. But there are also other paid programs like Maya or ZBrush. I have no experience with those, so I cannot help you, but the links are in the description. Like everything what I mentioned is in the description, except Windows 3D Builder, which is pre-installed on Windows machines. There are also online tools for creating custom D&D miniatures. One which I have used in the past, you can see one miniature right here. This is Priscilla. She's my only level 20 character so far. Went through some campaigns, but you can also color in Hero Forge, which you can see obviously on her. But if you are just outfitting the miniatures look like this. That is my other character for the next campaign. That's just like a character creation screen in a video game. A web-based program also like that is Eldritch Foundry, which is a little bit cheaper and has some other options. You can see it right here. Yeah, it's just an alternative to Hero Forge if Hero Forge does not have the things you're looking for. And also you can go on Fiverr and find an artist there if you want a super custom job. Because you want to print miniatures, an SLA printer or DLP, or let's just call them Resin Printers, are most likely your use case. Because you want the highest detail, you would go for a 4K LCD printer. All of them have monochromatic screens. What monochrome means is essentially faster printing. He also said that money is not really a concern, but he doesn't want to spend stupid money. So I have gathered 4 different resin printers that are under $1,000. They are all big resin printers. Bigger does mean less quality, but a 4K display stretched over like 12 inches is really good. If you want really high detail, go with a Frozen Sonic Mini 4K. If you want a bigger version of that, go with a Mighty 4K. Also there's the Anycubic Photon Mono X, the Epex E10, the Elegoo Saturn, which is never in stock, but a good 3D printer, so you would have to go with another one, or if you're lucky, get one. And I've also found the Creality Halot Sky. These are very good printers for very good prices, and they are easy to use. They're not professional, they are consumer grade 3D printers. But they should work perfectly fine for your use case. The next thing you need in order to print stuff is obviously resin. This is a bit of a complicated question. What I use, and that has worked for more than 1 year, is just the standard Elegoo gray resin. It is not an engineering grade resin, neither it prints super fast, but it is reliable for me. And that's why I tell you, it's also not over 30 bucks for 100 grams, which can be wallet breaking when you're trying to print a lot of stuff. And you're going to print a lot of stuff. I would kind of advise to get like 5 bottles of gray resin, print them, like print till they are all empty, and then if something doesn't add up or you need a more flexible resin, you can get a more flexible resin and mix it into the standard gray, which gives it more flexibility. And also I don't see why you would use other resin for 3D printing miniatures, because it works. Also some things that you need in order to print with resin. These are all the safety things I would advise. Especially you said you have a wife which probably likes you and doesn't want you to die early. So getting gloves, a mask, and also maybe eye protection should be top priority. With gloves, get nitrile gloves, because the resin doesn't penetrate the nitrile gloves. It does with latex ones, so that's why I say get nitrile gloves. They are easily available, they should be easily available, even though the pandemic is happening. For mask, I got this half mask, which is also in the description. It is very overkill, but it's comfortable to wear, it looks cool, and it's not that hard to breathe through it. It gets everything except ammonia, and I think you won't be handling ammonia anytime soon. Also safety glasses, just get cheap ones. It is just for the very, very slight chance that when you clip off a support it fires into your eye. I had that, it hurts like hell, but it doesn't kill you. Just wash it out, it will hurt for a day, and then you will be done. Also, in order to post-process, you need IPA or isopropyl alcohol or any other cleaner that I have mentioned in the From File to Print video. You need something to wash off the resin. And obviously you need containers for that. I have two, a dirty one and a more clean one. I usually throw them all in the dirty one and then after that in a clean one. Also, you said something about an ultrasonic cleaner that is very helpful, especially if you want very crisp details. I have one that I can also link. It's linked to Amazon, sorry. It can heat up and it can vibrate. The manual says not to put anything else than water, because if you put IPA it could theoretically ignite, and having burning alcohol is very dangerous because you cannot see or smell it, like smell the burning. Obviously you can smell the ethanol. What you need for curing is you can, if you want an all-in-one solution, there are many curing and washing machines, but I would do it manually and either take the cardboard box that the printer comes in and make that a curing chamber. What you need for that is tin foil or mylar foil, which is more reflective, a UV light and spray adhesive. You spray the walls, put the tin foil or mylar foil on, stick the UV light somewhere, and bada bing, bada boom, you have a curing chamber. I also put jewelry turntables in them that work with UV, so the miniatures get evenly cured. What you also may need is a toothbrush to post-process the miniatures and scrub the tiny details. The topic of paint is a complicated question, but most people use acrylic paint nowadays, even for realistic things. There are many great painting YouTubers, which I am not, and they're also bigger and paint better. I have them linked with other videos in my description, but you can look at the channel and see what they paint and how they use the paints. It's just most people use acrylic. I use a wet palette, and that's why I prefer the Vallejo colors, because they come in a squeeze bottle, so I can put it on the wet palette. If you're wondering what a wet palette is, go into the description. There are 3 videos linked, 2 from bigger painting YouTubers and 1 from me. There is an explanation there. And you can easily airbrush the acrylic paints. I have an Iwata something airbrush. There's also a link in the description, like the exact model I have. It is just easier to cover a lot of ground with very little work. I use it for base priming and base coating, and also for painting shadows and using washers on a big scale. For varnish, I use the Vallejo stuff. I usually use matte because I like the matte finish of the varnish. It's a polyurethane varnish, and it airbrushes easily. Also, you asked about painting kits or sets. I don't know about much, but there's the painting box from Jazza, who is also a YouTuber. He has a painting, like mini painting exact box set. As far as I know, it's pretty good, but I personally have cobbled together my painting station. Like I have all the Vallejo and Citadel colors. I have an airbrush from Iwata, a compressor, varnish and primer from Vallejo. I also have acrylic inks from Liquitex, my own made wet palette, and also some tiny knickknacks like magnets, blue tack and other stuff. And for brushes, most people swear by getting cheap brushes for all the stuff except details. In many craft stores or on Amazon you can buy big brush sets for very little money and then get a fine detail brush that actually costs a bit of money, but that you can then maintain. I almost forgot something. You also mentioned printing terrain and buildings. For that, if you get a big resin machine, you can do it with the Resin Printers, but I personally think that you can achieve some very good detail with FDM printers that are the melting plastic and putting it like tiny sausages on a print bed. They can produce great results if they are tuned well enough. I have personally achieved these big terrain pieces. They're like 25 centimeters by 25 centimeters, the biggest one, and it shows great detail. Obviously in white you cannot see very well. Essentially you're limited by the detail that the author or sculptor puts in, and I have with my machine depicted every detail that was put in. I can help you tune your machine if you message me or you find me on Twitter, but there are many other 3D printing channels that talk about printing minis and terrain with FDM machines. If you just get a resin printer, it will be easiest to print them on a resin machine. But a resin machine does not have 350 by 350 by 400 millimeters build volume, which my machine has, the so-called SBO3. I also put the N05 Plus. It has the same build volume, but is another type of printer. They essentially work the same. They put hot plastic on the bed. So that's it. I hope this was useful somehow, that I didn't ramble that much. And the information was good. See you in the next one. Tschüss und auf Wiedersehen.